The trauma bond is the aspect of where you're tied to a toxic relationship, oftentimes due to hope, potential, or cognitive dissonance. Are you having a hard time getting away from the narcissist? Are you having a hard time leaving? Maybe you're having a hard time getting over the relationship you got out of. Maybe it was toxic. Maybe it was abusive. Maybe it was full of cheating and infidelity. Like, what are you having a trouble getting out of? Oftentimes you'll have people in your life that will come alongside and help and support. But other times you have people that come into your life that try to be supporting or try to seem like they're supporting, but end up doing more damage than good. These are the type of people that walk alongside you and they're like, well, what's your problem? Like, just leave them. Like, just get over it. Just move on. Sometimes they'll even go so far to be like, hey, like, you went back, so like you chose this abuse. It's your fault. And they end up doing more damage than they do developing you because they're looking at the things that you've done and they're putting blame on you. Now, while we all have our own choices, our own decisions that happen, a lot of times people don't understand the manipulative way and the manipulative habits that a narcissist uses and employs to be able to groom their victims, to be able to put them in a trauma bond, and to be able to keep them in their life over and over. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness, growth, healing, and change. And I do that in multiple different ways. You can follow us on all the different platforms because we drop small nuggets of truth each and every day. So if you don't follow, make sure you do on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. We're on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Would love to have you on any of those platforms. Just look up Raw Motivations and you'll find us everywhere. Want to be able to have you engage with other people that are going through the same stuff that you're going through. If you want to interact more with people and take that communication to a whole nother level, download the Narc app. There's a lot of people on there that can give advice, that can give encouragement, that can give support, that are going through the same stuff that you're going through, but are working on their healing and growth in a group environment. A way for you to be able to take courses, to be able to learn and understand more about narcissism. A way for you to be able to track your no contact, keep accountability, to record your truth, to make sure you're not going crazy, and to develop friendships with other people through social media, through our exclusive lives that happen inside the app, through our monthly coaching calls that we have every single month, beginning first Monday of the month, where we're trying to help people not just deal with the questions, but then deal with the direction that they need to continue to go and continue to move forward to be happy, healthy, and whole. We'd love to have you interact with that community. We'd love to have you be a part of that. You can download the NARC app. Just type in NARC, stands for Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Community, NARC. Even if you don't know what narcissism is, or this is the first time you've heard about narcissism, download the app. We've got a free course on there that talks about NPD defined, and it goes into the 9 traits that make up narcissistic personality disorder. We'd love to be able to have you engage with that and be able to see what's actually going on when we're talking about narcissism. Well, a lot of times in talking about narcissism, people don't get it, right? Like, they don't understand what you're actually going through. They don't understand when you're stuck with an abuser or when you're stuck in an abusive relationship and it doesn't compute. Typically because they haven't had those. They haven't had those relationships. They haven't had those relationships that have been toxic or have been traumatic. And a lot of times it's easy for them to, just put out there like, why don't you just leave? Like, why don't you just get over it? Like, why don't you just block? Like, why don't you just move on? And you're like, but you don't understand. I get that so many times when I talk to people on a day-to-day basis of people that come and they want to get clarity through the confusion and they're like, I just don't understand. And I'm trying to find somebody who even understands the crap that I've been through, because most people, when I talk to them, they just say, you just need to leave. Or you should have already done this, or you should have already known this, or like it's your fault because you got involved with a married person. Like all these different things that come in that all these people are trying to like help, but a lot of times they end up doing more damage than help. A lot of times when people are thinking about it, they come into a communication with someone else and that person is, pushing them, just get over it, just move on. Like, it's just a breakup. Like, why is it that big of a deal? And the thing they have to understand is being with a narcissist is not just a breakup. It's not one of those things that you agree, hey, we're going to go our separate ways and then we move on. It's not a breakup, it's a trauma bond. Being with a narcissist develops a trauma bond over time. And it doesn't have to be a certain length of time for you to be addicted to that person or for you to be trauma bonded to that person. Oftentimes what I'll see is someone that's been with a narcissist for a month, for a year or for 10 years, still be stuck even in mentally or even in the relationship and not sure how to get out. This is because a lot of times with narcissistic relationships, it's very compacted. Time is compacted with a narcissist. Think of it this way. Let's say you've went on a date with a narcissist. That might be equivalent to spending the whole day. And you say you spent like a day with a narcissist, that'd be equivalent to spending like a week. Say you spent a week with a narcissist, they're probably equivalent to like 6 months. It continues to ramp up more and more. This is why you'll see the quickness in engaging, the quickness of like, oh, like now I love you so much. Like we're best for each other. Like we're the best partners. We're the best this. And you'll see all this stuff like compacted really fast. Like, so all of a sudden you have like the first date, and then the second date you're talking about like marriage. And the third date you're talking about like kids, like all different types of stuff that will ramp up really fast. And the narcissist oftentimes compacts that stuff really quick together, future faking, giving you an idea of the vision, of the values, of the direction that everybody's going, of like, oh, like I want to go there too. Like I want to be that person too. When in reality, it's just a mask. You see, a narcissist will use their mask in manipulative ways to be able to groom their victim. If you haven't had a chance, check out my videos on YouTube of grooming how narcissists groom their victims, because it's very key. A lot of people see those and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that's what it was. I didn't even realize some of the stuff that was there. And whenever I even went through that section, whenever I was learning about it and putting together the videos and everything, I was like, holy cow, like some of this stuff is stuff that I've done just out of habit that I didn't even realize. But narcissists will groom their victims and position themselves in a place that makes them more attractive to the victim. Of like, oh, like I have the same issues. Like your mom died, my mom died. Like you've been through that trauma, I've been through that trauma. Like they'll share commonalities, they'll build up commonalities, they'll manufacture commonalities to make you feel like you guys are perfect together. Or that you've never felt this way, you've never been this connected, or that you guys are soulmates and it goes so much deeper than just superficial, but like we were meant to be. And those things slowly develop over time to make you to the place of being stuck with a narcissist, stuck with a toxic person, and you're not sure how to get out. A lot of times when we talk about being stuck in a toxic relationship, especially with a narcissist, we normally use the word trauma bond. You might have heard it tossed around, you might have heard or seen different videos, but the trauma bond is the aspect of where you're tied to a toxic relationship, oftentimes due to hope, potential, or cognitive dissonance. And that tie to that relationship seems so strong, seems so hard, that to break that tie, to move away from that person, to block that person, to get free from that person, oftentimes feels like you're sacrificing a part of yourself. Like you're sacrificing who you are. Like it's going to be, they're going to take your level of self-confidence, self-worth. Like that's the only place you can get it. And the reason why you feel that way is not because you're crazy. The reason why you feel that way is because they've groomed you and manufactured those emotions so that you would keep coming back to them for more. A lot of times when people think of trauma bond, they think of the aspect too of always wondering, are they going to change? Are they going to change? Maybe this will happen. Maybe they'll get better. And that hope in a toxic relationship ends up being very damaging. That hope is like, hey, maybe they will understand what they've done. Maybe they'll understand how they've hurt me. Maybe they'll see the pain that I'm going through. The problem is they don't. And oftentimes they won't. Sometimes people latch onto the potential of, I know that what I've seen in this person. I've seen them be loving before. I've seen them be respectful. I've seen them care. And they're going back to the aspect of the love bombing phase when everything seemed perfect. They're like, but they were like that. Like, why can't they be like that now? And as a result, they'll stay stuck in that toxic relationship. The other one that I mentioned was cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is typically built over a period of time using intermittent reinforcement. The push, pull, the back and forth, the ups and downs, the idealization, the devaluation, back and forth. It's all built on this aspect of, hey, I love you, I hate you, and going back and forth and confusing the person. Like, we used to text like 24/7. Now they ghost me like for a day. Like, we used to communicate like so well. Now I just get screamed at. But now they say they love me. But like, and it goes back and forth and it starts to build up what we normally refer to as cognitive dissonance. So cognitive dissonance is the idea of holding two opposing thoughts. Of like, which do I believe? This thought or this thought? Now, when we're talking about narcissists, a lot of times those are thoughts and actions. Okay, so do I believe the words that they're saying, or do I believe the actions that they're doing? And typically, it's a lot easier to go with the words than it is to go with the actions, because then we have to approach the fact and the possibility that this person actually does not care about us, because of how they're being portrayed, because of how they're coming across. And that's what you see time and time again. So cognitive dissonance is the idea of holding two opposing thoughts. When you think of it this way, when you think of it in like a romantic relationship, and when we're talking about like love and interaction and stuff like that, cognitive dissonance is me looking at you and saying, hey, I love you, and then slapping you. And then saying I love you, and then slapping you. And then saying I love you, and then slapping you. And then saying I love you, and then slapping you. And over a period of time, it starts to put two opposing thoughts of like they either love me or they hate me, because they still are saying they love me, but at the same time, they're slapping me. Like, this doesn't make sense. And the problem is, over a period of time, you get groomed to start thinking that when they say they love you and they slap you, so the same exact thing that's happening in the relationship, they say they love you, but they're cheating on you. They say they love you, but they're lying to you. They say they love you, but they're not willing to engage on a deeper level. There's all different types of aspects of this, that what happens is they say you love you and they do the exact opposite. It starts to show you a couple things. It starts to show you, one, that's what love is. So like, get used to it, because that's what love is. Maybe you already think that's what love is because of your upbringing, because of the family that you came out of. A lot of times you think that's what love is. Number two, a lot of times you think not just that's what love is, but hey, this is what I have to do to be able to get love. I have to be able to go through the pain. I have to go through the pain to be able to get the love. So like, I have to get the slap. I have to get, the rejection. I have to get the cheating in order for them to love me more. Like, it's just a process. Like, I have to go through this. Like, this is what I deserve at times too, is what people think. And a lot of times the third one is, this is all I'm worth. Like, the love that I'm getting from this person is all that I'm worth. So therefore I have to keep coming back to this person, because I can't get it from anywhere else. No one else is going to love me. No one else is going to love a single mom or a lone dad. Like, no one is going to love these type of people, is what's been put in your mind from the narcissist, which keeps you locked in. So I want to encourage you today, before we wrap up, is like, get to the truth of the situation, because the trauma bond makes you feel crazy. Makes you feel like I have no clue what just happened. Like, I have no clue who I was with, what was happening. Like, is anything real? Like, these are huge thoughts and questions that a lot of people have. What I want to encourage you to is that closure ends up coming from you, and you getting clarity about the situation, not from them. They're not going to give you closure. Narcissist is never going to give you closure. But the more you're able to understand the truth of the situation, what happened and who that person is, and be able to get that clarity, that's what will help set you free. I work with people every single day trying to help them get free from that toxic relationship, not just physically, but a lot of times mentally, of breaking that trauma bond so that you don't go back, so that you don't interact with that person anymore, so that that person no longer has control over you. If that's you and you want to talk today, go to rawmotivations.com, click on one of the links below. Would love to talk to you, would love to help you, would love to help you walk through that aspect to get clarity through the confusion that you just came through.